Do you know what the difference is between a serial killer and a mass murderer?
No.
I'm a huge true crime junkie.
No, I don't.
Okay, so a serial killer is a person that commits several murders separately.
Okay.
A mass murderer kills a whole bunch of people in one location.
Okay.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
Not that that's relevant to the book, but that just popped into
Well,
my
that makes
mind.
sense. That actually does make sense.
Brian Koberger, a couple years ago, he killed the 4 students at the University of Idaho. He broke into their house, killed 4 of the 6 students that lived there.
I think I did hear about that.
He was supposed to go into his court hearing last July, but he pled guilty at the last minute. Okay. And everybody was talking about him being like a serial killer. I'm like, no, he's not a serial killer. He kills all of his victims in one place. He's a mass murderer. He's not a serial killer.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I know that now.
Welcome to the Bookish Introverts Podcast. Join host Amazon bestselling author Brett Nelson and avid reader Melanie Dyer as they dive in to review books they've read, then chat with the amazing authors behind them. Quiet minds, big bookshelves. You don't want to miss it.
Hey everyone, it's Brett and Jessica Riggins. We are back for another great book talk.
Yes, sir, we are. And it's a good book.
It is. Tell them what we read.
It's called The Black Midnight by Kathleen. Now, how do you say that
I
last
have
name?
no idea. Y'Barbo. For those of you that are listening, we'll flash the graphic across the screen. But for those of you who are listening, it's spelled Y''Barbo. So Y'Barbo, I'm not sure. So
I think that's probably as close as we're going to get.
Yeah. And it was a really good book. I really liked it because it was historical fiction.
Yeah.
And it's a suspense. And I feel like historical suspense is not a common genre. I've not seen a lot of historical suspense. Usually historicals are romance or something like
dramas.
that. Yeah, I was like, okay, we got to do this one.
Yeah.
The one thing about it is it was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
No, I did.
Yeah.
And I liked that it was just a quick and easy read. It wasn't too thick of a book.
Yeah, if you're looking for just a quick, fun read, I think it was like 250 pages, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
The only thing about it, I feel like on this podcast, we tend to pick weightier books that maybe are just going to give us some really good, heavy discussion points. And I really didn't feel like there's going to be a lot of opportunity for that here because there's not a lot of heavy themes. This is a good, if you just want a good, entertaining read to just sit down and not have to put a lot of thought into, this is a great one to read.
Yes. I mean, one heavy theme, though, is that they're talking about a mass murderer.
Yes.
So that could be considered a heavy theme.
Yeah. So basically what this is, it's called, like she said, The Black Midnight. Everybody's heard of Jack the Ripper.
Yep.
He was this notorious serial killer in the London area back in the 1800s, 1888, I think, was when he did his first murder. Never to this day has been found.
Right.
Nobody
They never
ever knew who
solved
he was.
that mystery.
Now, I should have done a little bit of research, but I think it's sort of not really a dual timeline, but it sort of bounces back and forth between Jack the Ripper in London, 1888, and then it also takes part of the time in Austin, Texas.
Which actually is the majority of it.
Yeah.
One thing that I didn't realize about Jack the Ripper, how they came up with that name, the author did a little thing at the end of the book that talked about it. And I was like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, just a few pages. And they got that because they received a letter from the supposed killer that signed his name, Jack the Ripper.
Yes. So that's where it came from.
That's where they got it from.
And I didn't realize that was at the back of the book. Is the letter in there?
No.
I'm going to read the letter.
Oh, you got the letter.
Yeah, I've got the letter.
Okay.
For the people that are watching, I'll flash a copy of the actual letter. They call it the Dear Boss letter. It was allegedly written by Jack the Ripper. It was addressed to the Central News Agency of London, dated September 25th, 1888. It was written in red ink. It was 2 pages long, and it contained several spelling and punctuation errors. So the letter reads, Dear Boss. So that's why it's called the Boss letter, the Dear Boss letter. Dear Boss, I keep on hearing the police have caught me, but they won't fix me just yet. I have laughed when they look so clever and talk about being on the right track. That joke about leather apron gave me real fits. I am down on whores, and I shan't quit ripping them till I do get buckled. Grand work the last job was. I gave the lady no time to squill. How can they catch me now? I love my work and want to start again. You will soon hear of me with my funny little games. I saved some of the proper red stuff in a ginger beer bottle over the last job to write with, but it went thick like glue and I can't use it. Red ink is fit enough, I hope. Ha ha. The next job I do, I shall clip the ladies' ears off and send them to the police officers just for jolly, wouldn't you? Keep this letter back till I do a bit more work, then give it out straight. My knife is so nice and sharp, I want to get to work right away if I get a chance. Good luck, yours truly, Jack the Ripper. P.S. Don't bother giving me a trade name. P.S. Wasn't good enough to post this before I got all the red ink off my hands, curse it. No luck yet. They say I'm a doctor now. Ha ha.
And another thing that she did her own research into it, but she said along with the letter, there was a preserved human kidney.
Yes.
Sent with the letter, I guess.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my gosh, so gross.
Yeah. This guy was disturbed.
So was he called the Midnight Assassin?
Okay.
The one from Austin?
Yes. The one from Austin was called the Midnight Assassin. The one in London was called Jack the Ripper. The Midnight Assassin was a thing in Austin. This story presumes that Jack the Ripper and the Midnight Assassin from Austin are the same person.
Right.
So I don't think it's been
which may or may not be true.
conclusively
Yeah, they've
proven.
never proven that.
But I mean, if they can't even prove who Jack the Ripper was, how are they going to prove?
So I guess before the letter was written and they got the name Jack the Ripper, they'd called him the Whitechapel Murderer or Leather Apron.
Leather Apron.
Yeah.
And they're not sure if this letter is actually from Jack the Ripper. Some experts say the letter was sent by someone back in the day from the journalists as an attempt to sell more newspapers.
Could be a reporter.
But there are some that are convinced Jack the Ripper sent it. So
And it could be.
yeah, you just
And
never
I
know.
don't know that could ever be proven
At this
because
point,
they
no.
never captured.
Yeah.
They never found him or captured him or figured out who it actually was.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, of course, DNA and forensics were not a thing back then. And apparently they have basically said they really botched it back then.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because
they definitely didn't have the technology back then that we have now.
No, and we'll talk about it more once we get into it. But
Which does make it more interesting as
It does.
to read a story about it, because they really had to use true detective work to try to figure and use like clues and things to try to figure out who did it, how they did it, so on and so forth.
yeah,
But nowadays, there's so much science to it and technology with DNA, so on and so forth. Fingerprints, which I think even then they could maybe try to get a fingerprint off of something and try to figure out maybe if they had it in some kind of database or whatever.
and they've actually have tried to do that because apparently in some lab somewhere they do have some, I don't know, blood or whatever they have. Yeah, whatever they have, they do have.
Yeah.
But back in the day, at the time this happened, and you do sort of see that in the book, so many people flooded onto the crime scene.
They destroyed the crime scene.
They destroyed the crime scene. And so
there was no way you could get any kind of evidence, even if there was some left behind, because the townspeople or whoever would just like flood the place.
They flooded
and
the crime
trampling
scene.
all over it. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Where it's like nowadays they tape it off and they've got the gloves on and it's like, and they try to preserve the
It's
crime
treated
scene
like
so
an
they
actual
can
crime scene.
find evidence.
But again, it goes to show their ignorance toward these things.
Yeah.
And again, Whitechapel, which is where these murders happened, Whitechapel was just a small rural town, I think. It wasn't sophisticated.
Well, from the sounds of it, it was like the slums. Like
Yeah.
it was.
Well, and that's why he kind of went there to do the murders, because now the book didn't, from what I remember, the book didn't go so heavy into it about these women. The women that were murdered by Jack the Ripper, the victims, the book sort of portrayed them as servants. Well, according to history, they were hookers. All these women were prostitutes.
The book didn't.
No, and I think she
It
probably
didn't say
did that
that.
for sensitivity purposes, maybe.
Well, and again, for the most part, the majority of the book, we're talking about the Austin, Texas murders.
Yeah.
We're not even in London until towards the end of the book. I mean,
Yeah.
it starts out in London with her talking
Yeah.
to the Queen, but then very quickly it shifts to 4 years prior, and
Yeah.
it's the majority of the book is about them being in Austin, Texas, and
Uh-huh.
those murders. So the book didn't focus on the ones in London until the latter part of the book, and that was the book was almost over at that point.
Yeah.
One maybe issue I had with the book that because it starts out London 18 whatever the year was. Does it say
1888.
1889 1888 1889 whatever it was, and you're like, okay, so you're starting to get into the story. I don't know, there wasn't a prologue, was there? I
No,
don't believe there was.
I don't think so.
So you're okay. You're getting the idea of where we're at, the setting, what's going on. She's gonna try to investigate these murders. She's got to get a team assembled, and then you maybe get a few chapters, maybe a few,
Yeah.
and then they shift to 4 years prior, where I'm just like, so I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna get a little bit of a backstory, and it's like, no, it's the whole book.
Yeah.
It's like, because I thought we were gonna jump back to quote unquote present day, right where the book started.
Yeah.
At least.
But it didn't.
And it didn't until
Yeah.
almost the end of the book. So I kind
Although,
of had issue with that.
I
a little
will
bit.
say I liked the way she wrote it because I hate books that flip back and forth every other chapter
True.
from
I'm
one.
glad
So
it
I
didn't do
really
that.
liked that you got the time in London at the beginning, then you
Yeah.
got this huge section in the middle in Austin,
Yeah.
then it moved back to London.
then it did get
I
back
don't.
to
I'm
present.
not a fan of books that flip
The-
back and
the
forth
dual
all the time.
timelines.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So why do you think after all these years people are still obsessed with Jack the Ripper?
Well, I think it's just intriguing. There's something about the history of it, the fact that it happened in the late 1800s, rather. And
The
there's
fact
just,
that he was never caught.
Yeah, he
gives
was
it
never
some
caught.
intrigue.
Yeah, it's very intriguing, and obviously they've depicted this in movies. I mean, like in pop culture.
Yeah,
it's
it's huge in
depicted.
pop
It's
culture.
talked about. So I don't know. I think there's just a lot of mystery and intrigue surrounding it, and the fact that he never got caught. So it's still a mystery. It's still an
Yeah.
unsolved mystery.
Yeah. Do you think, say, if they had caught him, I think the murders started in 1888. If they had caught him by 1890, would we still be talking about him today?
Probably not. I think
Probably
it like
not.
lives in infamy because it's
Because it's
unsolved.
shrouded in so much uncertainty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the letter, of course, like I'm sure that, and him signing it, Jack
Yeah.
the Ripper.
Yeah. Well, and
whoever wrote
an
the
interesting
letter.
thing about that letter, it disappeared from the police department, from the Metropolitan
that.
Police Department. It disappeared shortly after the case was over, and they realized they weren't going to be able to find this guy. The letter disappeared from the Metropolitan Police Department, and then it returned anonymously to the Metropolitan Police Department in November of 1987.
How did it
So
disappear
for
to
like,
begin with?
they think somebody within the police department took it as a souvenir. So I don't know if the person, because it wasn't returned until 1987.
How it rematerialized after that long?
Yeah,
And,
so I don't know if maybe somebody's relative found it and thought, okay, this needs to.
and so it was proven fact though that it was the legitimate original letter.
Yeah, it was the original letters, but they presumed that one of the investigating officers took it for a souvenir.
Maybe so.
Yeah, following the murders, more than 2,000 people were interviewed as people of interest.
Yeah.
300 of those 2,000 people were investigated, and 80 people were detained.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. 80
Detained and then released.
people. Yeah.
They were
but
detained.
They were questioned.
Yeah. There were 5 main people that were murdered. They're called the
Right.
Canonical 5.
Yes.
They were the ones that history is pretty sure 100%
That the same
these people,
person murdered those 5 people.
yes, that they were
Mm-hmm.
murdered by Jack the Ripper. There's 11 people that were killed during the time frame, but they're not conclusively.
That it was the same person.
Man, and let me tell
Yeah.
you, before the podcast, I did a little bit of research because it kind of intrigued me.
Like,
you know,
yeah,
so,
piqued your interest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it piqued my interest. So I went in and looked, and on Wikipedia. I was on there reading about Jack the Ripper, and they had actual crime scene photos of one of the bodies, of the very last one. It was gruesome.
Graphic.
Of course, it was black and white. It was a picture from 1800s, but it was enough to.
I mean, because his murder weapon was an axe, right, or a knife.
Well,
I think an axe.
A
Was
knife, yeah,
for sure.
Okay, again, in the book, all these people were killed by an axe.
Okay.
Historically, they were slash marks, so they think he was killed with a knife of some sort.
Something with a blade.
Whatever they were
sharp
killed
blade.
with, it was horrible.
Yeah. Did he dismember them at all?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought
Yes,
so.
he. Okay, guys, we're not going to go into great detail, but if you're squeamish, he disemboweled some of them.
That was gruesome.
The very last victim, Mary Jane Kelly or something like that, I think her name was. By the time he was done with her, she was basically unrecognizable.
Wow.
She was disemboweled. Her body parts were laying all over the room. and
butchered her.
It butchered her, yeah. Her face. The only reason they knew who she was because she was murdered in her room. They're not exactly sure why. Hers was so much more gruesome than everyone else. They don't know if maybe he had a vengeance against her, or if maybe just because of her isolated location, maybe he just had more time with her. But the rest of the murders were not as gruesome as this last one.
But like you said, maybe he was just uninterrupted for longer.
That's what they kind of think. They think probably he was uninterrupted.
Well, according to the book, anyways, there was witnesses, and I think that's true. I think that's historically true that there were witnesses to some of these. And it's like, how could they not tell you more? Especially the way the book depicted it. Mm-hmm. Like, the witnesses were useless. They couldn't tell you anything. It's like, if you witnessed, you saw.
One person said it was a tall, skinny guy, and the next person said it was a short, fat guy. Yeah.
So, it was not without... I mean, it wasn't like the perfect crime. At times, there were witnesses that lived to tell the tale.
But this guy was almost like a phantom.
Yeah.
He did the murders, and again, I don't know how accurate this is to the actual, because I didn't do a deep dive into it. I just didn't have time. A lot of these people in the book, they were depicted as, one of the victims, she was really upset with herself because she was in the house when it happened and she never heard anything. She was like, and I'm sorry, if you're hacking someone with an axe, that is not a quiet death.
No.
That's not a quick death.
And they're they would have to be screaming before it actually...
how could people not hear?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't get it. Yeah. It doesn't make sense how he could go so undetected. Seemingly undetected at
forever.
Times.
Yeah.
Especially because I think there were broad daylight when the murder took place in broad daylight at times. It wasn't necessarily always at night. I think that definitely...
Now, in the book, they were depicted as most of them were killed in a kitchen because they were slaves. They were basically house servants for rich people.
And they lived... they had their quarters in the back of the house or the back of the property or whatever.
Yeah.
So he would go around to those places
and kill them.
Come in.
Yeah. Because rich people didn't go into the servants' quarters.
Right.
But one of them was killed in the kitchen.
Yes.
According to the book.
Yes, where it's kind of like, well, that's out of the ordinary. That's...
Yes.
He's deviating from his... I mean, he did kind of have... You could kind of follow each one, and they were very similar. He had a pattern. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, well, then something happens that's totally different, that doesn't follow that pattern at all. So I can see as trying to be an investigator of these, how perplexing that could be. And then you have to think about, there could be copycats, people that try to make it look like it was Jack the Ripper, but it wasn't. And
I've never,
copycat.
and they even do that these days. And why?
People are crazy.
They are. Is it because they want to murder someone and so they want to pin it on someone else?
Well, and that could be.
Is that why copycats do it?
I feel like that would be a motive for sure.
A legitimate serial killer, from what I've read on it, a legitimate serial killer does not want to take credit for someone else's work. It really offends them when they get accused of a murder that they didn't commit.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. As that's probably, I'm sure there have been detective shows that have depicted that
Yeah.
very thing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like a CSI.
Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, you have
Psychologically, like
they're just not normal.
no.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go into the book. So it starts out in London, February of '89. Alice is our main character. And
Yes, but we refer to her as Annie, though, for
Annie,
the majority of the book.
And then Isaiah, sometime in the book, he was referred to as
Ike.
Ike. But those are our two main characters.
Yeah.
And nobody in the book knows it at the time, but Alice is a great-granddaughter to the Queen of England.
Yeah. And we know that as a reader right away.
We know that right away. But
She tries
Isaiah
to keep
doesn't
it a
know
secret.
Yes.
Because she has kind of not entirely left the royal family, but she wanted to go out on her own. She wanted to kind of distance herself from the royal family. She wanted to have a life outside, an identity outside of that.
Too, she has a knack for solving crimes. Right. And the royal family did not want her having any part of that. So she had something to do with the Metropolitan Police.
Yes, so she has this mentor, which his name, Simon Kent. Mm-hmm. And he just took up with her. He advocated for her to be. So she was some kind of a detective in London at some point, a special private eye or whatever. But she was limited, though, because her family, her dad especially,
because her whole family is royals.
Yes. And so it's like, well, okay, we'll let you play this part, but we're still going to kind of control it.
Yes.
And so
because it's not very royal to be going out and trying to solve crimes.
Yeah. So she knew she was being kind of, her wings were being clipped, so to speak, and she wasn't really being free to just pursue that career and things. Yeah. So Simon,
she kind of got hooked up in the United States.
Yeah, he helped her get a job with the Pinkerton
Detective Agency.
Agency.
Had you heard of them before this book?
Yes, because I feel like I've heard about that in movies and stuff.
I had never heard of them. The Pinkerton National Detective Agency was founded in 1850 by Alan Pinkerton and Edward Rucker. They had become the largest private law enforcement organization in the world by the 1870s and the 1880s. They had offices across the United States and hundreds of operatives. During this period, the agency was widely employed by railroads, banks, and industrialists to protect property, track criminals, and enforce corporate interests. So that was sort of what they did.
Yeah, kind of like Private Eyes, where, obviously you have law enforcement, you have police officers, but beyond that, it's like people that could really just concentrate on one case and spend all of their time and effort on that, where police have to divide their time between a lot of things. And so that, I feel like they're private eyes. Wouldn't you call them that?
That's in our modern vernacular. Okay. That's what they would be called.
Yeah, just detectives for hire.
Yeah.
And which funny little story that the author, like I said, at the very end of the book, there was a couple of pages of her just kind of talking about actual facts about things.
And I did not read it. I never read back matter.
And whoever hired the Pinkerton detectives to come and investigate these murders hired the wrong Pinkertons.
Yes. Yeah. Apparently there was like a knockoff Pinkertons.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Yeah. Now, did they do it accidentally, or did the mayor do it to save money?
No, I feel like they didn't realize that they actually hired the wrong Pinkertons.
Okay.
Without realizing that they had done so, and they paid them all this stuff, and they actually
so it would be foolish to not use them since
and
they
were like,
paid.
Well, it's like, I guess we'll just let them investigate. Yeah. They're already here, and they didn't want to look foolish in the community. But it did come out later that had happened.
Yeah, which is hilarious because,
so funny. The wrong Pinkertons.
The wrong Pinkertons. Yeah, this is why you don't have two organizations called Pinkerton.
Right, in the same area.
In the same area, yeah. Well, so all this comes up, and the Queen decides, okay, we want you to go out and sort of be a part of this investigation to try to catch Jack the Ripper, but we want you to stay low. We don't want you showing up in the news. We don't want you talking about it. So
kind of like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They didn't want her to be a public face or
Yes.
figure in the investigation. But
she has an unlimited budget. They give her an unlimited budget.
Which it's a little surprising, honestly, that the Queen, because I don't know how much we've read at this point in time, because that was almost like the first thing that you're reading is her going in to
Her
talk
interaction
to
with the
her
Queen.
interaction with the Queen. But I feel like, especially after the fact, you learn more about the relationship that she has with the Queen and things like that, where like they weren't in support of her being any kind of a detective when she first started out wanting to do that. So the fact that the Queen has made some kind of turnaround here to where she's like, I think you're good at that, and I think you would, like, I trust you to investigate this. And,
and Alice, is it Alice or Annie? Annie.
We've called almost the entire book, they refer to her as Annie.
Annie, okay. Annie was not interested in participating in those royal conventions.
Right.
And that's part of the reason why she and her great-grandmother, I won't say didn't get along, but Alice just wasn't, or Annie was not interested in being the royalty, Your Highness.
Yes, she didn't want to live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I don't know, to some degree they allowed her to do her detective thing. Again, she got to do it in London, but again, it was like within limits.
But it was because Jack the Ripper was killing all these people. Unfortunately, it took that for her great-grandma to be like, you know what? We think you're good at this. Let you go do your thing.
So it is kind of like, oh, well, at some point, the Queen, her great-grandmother, has had a change of heart in regard to her great-granddaughter being a good detective. And so she recruits her to, like, hey, I want you to form a team. And so one of the first people she thinks about is Isaiah, also known as Ike. She's like, I wouldn't want anybody else to work on this case. There's a relationship there. They've had a falling out, but no, she respects him.
He views her as the most infuriating woman with whom he's ever worked.
Well, and that's only because she broke his heart.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of backstory there that we will get into.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, they had a good working relationship. They obviously were detectives together. They were both Pinkerton detectives. There's a little animosity between them at this point in time, but there wasn't back then. They were good friends. They worked together. They worked well together. They had feelings for each other. We'll get into all of that. But it's because it went a little sour, went a little south, the relationship did at the end.
Which is what happens when you profess your love to someone.
Right. Well, she
especially when you're in a
basically
working relationship.
rejected his love is what it kind of boiled down to. So he kind of maybe has a little bit of chip on his shoulder that she rejected him and so on and so forth. So, but she still thinks highly enough of him to want to work with him. And that's actually, they worked on those in Austin. That was what they were working on, were these murders in Austin. They feel like there's some kind of connection between the ones in Austin 4 years ago and the ones now in London. So,
and it's interesting to note too that the Queen also told her, you're going to have an unlimited budget, but when you catch this guy, you are not allowed to take credit for it. You will let the police make the announcement. So basically, even if she puts in all this work, she gets to take no credit for it.
I know. And the Queen was upfront and honest about that from the word go, and she was like, hey, I'm fine with that. Annie's not in it for the fame or the glory per se.
She just wants the joy of doing what she loves to do.
She enjoys doing that work.
Yeah, so that happens. Then it goes to a month later. She's in Austin, Texas, and she's with Ike in his office. This is where you start to learn that Ike finds her infuriating. He proposed to her 3 years ago, but she declined. He has a girlfriend now, Theodora Rampley, and I'm sorry, with a name like Theodora Rampley, you just know this woman is unlikable. She's the daughter of a senator.
Yeah, so Annie does not give him a heads up.
She just shows up.
She just shows up at his... So he has quit being a detective. He is now a lawyer, which is something I think he did years prior. He decided he didn't want to be a lawyer and he wanted to be a detective. And now he's quit being a detective and now he's yet a lawyer yet again. So Annie knows that he wasn't really happy or fulfilled being a lawyer. and that he was more fulfilled being a detective. So she has found out though that has this little law office or whatever. She just shows up one day out of the blue, no notice. And so
she doesn't want to give him the chance to say no.
She just walks into his office, I think. Was he like in his office, like at his desk, and she just walks in, right? Something like that. In.
Yeah.
And he's just like, whoa, what are you doing? Like you see a ghost, or something. And because they probably haven't seen or talked to each other in 4 years. How long it's been.
Obviously not, because he's got a girlfriend now. So.
Yeah, and so it's just like, whoa, what are you doing?
And
here,
when somebody's broken your heart, you really don't want to talk to them, or
So obviously, like right immediately, it's like, what are you doing here? I mean, I think the surprise of it, like, whoa, and then once it all like sinking in, obviously he still has feelings for her. I mean, you can't just turn those off or whatever, and so it's kind of like you're torn, I think, because he does still have feelings for her, but she broke his heart and she left, and so then he was forced to move on with his life.
And he also wants to catch the killer. So
and so it's like, what are you doing here? And so I think, like, she's all business and tells him about this proposition that she has. Well, not too far into this encounter, here comes the little girlfriend, right? Which are they engaged? Is she actually his fiance, or is it not quite there yet?
I wrote girlfriend.
Okay,
but yeah.
But something to that effect, where if they were not already engaged, I think it was like...
It was on the way.
It was imminent.
Yeah.
So she comes in like, oh, who is this, Because I feel like she just barges on in to their little meeting.
She didn't feel bad about it.
No, she's very like entitled and wealthy, comes from a wealthy family. Did you say her dad was a senator? Something
her
like
dad
that.
was. Yeah, Theodora's dad was.
Yeah. So she's just like prancing in there and laying claim to her man.
Yes.
Oh, it's like pretty obvious right away. And I don't know, does she? Well, he probably is like, oh, this is Annie. We used to work together, and she might even realize that they had been in a relationship at one point. I'm not sure,
I'm wondering. Surely he's talked about her at some point. If nothing else, just out of the virtue of the fact that they've worked together.
Right. So I'm assuming that she knew who Annie was, and knew that she was part of his past. But anyway, but right
Theodora
away,
ain't happy that she's there.
She is. She's not having it. She is laying her claim on this. This is my man, and
you've had your chance, so you can get on.
Yeah. That was kind of a cute, funny encounter there, and so I feel like they part ways. I don't know that he immediately agreed to it.
But this is where she tells him that she suspects the killer that they didn't catch in Austin, the midnight assassin, is now in London on a killing spree.
Yes. Yeah. She does get out why she's there. She does get that out and tells him that she wants him to join her in this. And again, I don't think he gives her an answer right away. I think they part ways.
And then it basically, once she goes away, then the book jumps to 4 years earlier in Austin, 1885.
Yes. At that point, do we know that he has decided to join her?
Annie is at a Christmas party with Isaiah that's thrown by a local senator. And this is where we sort of learn that Annie's keeping a secret. She's part of the monarchy, but nobody knows it. Isaiah really just thinks she's a female who's unable to get a job with all the male Scotland Yard people. And so she works with the Pinkertons in the U.S. on occasion.
Did they come to the conclusion that he was going to help her before we jumped back 4 years? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't think we knew.
We don't know that until later.
Until later. Yeah, we don't know until later.
He decided to go join her.
Yeah, because that was in 89. Now we're in 85. So we're kind of back in the original time frame.
Yeah, so very quickly it jumps 4 years prior, and that's where we stay for the majority of the book.
Now we're sort of working our way through up to the murders.
Up to that point.
Yes.
Getting us up to that point. She's definitely trying to keep a low profile. She's keeping a secret from everyone, including him, that she is royalty, that her great-grandmother is the Queen of England.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want people to know. She wants to have a life outside of that, separate from that.
Yeah.
She wants to be known as Annie whatever instead of Alice and whatever.
And this is where he tells her that those two are going to continue working the investigation, but the public, as far as the public knows, they think the real Pinkerton agency is doing it. Basically, they've been brought in to make sure that the the fake Pinkerton men don't humiliate the real agency.
Okay, so they did address that in the book.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah, they did address that.
Yeah.
There was an interesting thing in the book. There's a sort of a dispute among the people whether the Midnight Assassin has been jailed on another offense. They can't figure out why the murders have stopped.
Yeah.
So they're like, has he been jailed? Did he leave town? Or whatever? Because it's been, at this point, it's been several months since the murder. Did you think it was odd during the book how people wanted to just sort of kick
Sweep it
all
under the
these
rug.
murders under the rug? They just wanted to pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah. That was because they'd gone to some kind of dinner, banquet, whatever you want to call it, and
Yeah.
she was at a table with other like law enforcement or different political figures or whatever. And like hardly any of them wanted to even talk about it.
Yeah.
And they wanted just to be like, but they wanted their citizens to feel safe again. They wanted to just, can we move on from this? But it's still an unsolved mystery, and this person hasn't been caught, and
Which
it could
means
happen
more
again.
murders could happen
Yeah,
again.
I guess I understand on one hand, like the mayor or the town or people that are kind of responsible for the town and in positions of authority. I mean, because no one wants to live their life in constant fear. He didn't want that for
Listen,
the people of the town.
If we
get
had a
that.
serial killer on the loose here, I would not want the police sweeping it under the rug just to keep
True.
people. I would be like, get your honeys out there and find out who this person is before
Yes.
I'm the next victim.
Yes. Well, see, okay. It's one thing to try to appease the public and
Yeah.
try to make them feel safe or whatever.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, though,
You
you
still
had better
gotta be doing what you're
trying to
doing.
find this guy. And I
Yeah.
think they weren't like too concerned. Maybe they're just like, he's moved on or whatever. They were just
Or
maybe
maybe
too optimistic.
Or
thinking
maybe
that
he's waiting on his
it
new
was
knives
over.
to arrive from Amazon. You know?
Yeah. I feel like they just wished and wanted it to be done and just kind
Yeah.
of like, well, if we pretend like it's
La, 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 la,
then it
la.
will be. And it's just
Yeah.
like, well, but
Yeah.
maybe not.
This is
But
one
maybe
instance
it's not over.
where putting your head in the sand is probably
Yes,
not the
that's
ideal situation.
That's a good term, putting your
Yeah.
head in the sand. And I feel like that's what they were doing because they
Yeah.
just didn't want to think about it and they didn't want to talk about it and they just wanted to get on with life and get
Yeah.
back to normal. And I understand that.
Yeah. And
But
you
they're
have to
still-
do that to an extent. You still have to get
Yeah.
out. You still have to go to work. You still
Still
have
got to
to
live
do
life.
the things.
And I mean, and maybe he is gone. Maybe he is done. Maybe he moved on to a different town, different
maybe
state.
he's not.
Different country. Who
Maybe,
knows?
yeah. So anyway, so they're at this dinner, and this is where we meet another sort of important character. We meet Blake. He's
yeah.
a reporter in London.
Blake Cameron.
And he, for some reason, he gets his eyes on Annie. He kind of becomes a thorn in her side.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he zeroed her out. Is it because she's a female and he feels like he can get more
Maybe.
out of her? He can maybe intimidate her.
Maybe he's attracted. I don't know. But yeah, he approaches her,
Maybe.
and the very first thing he tells her is, I may have information on the case, but it's nothing I can share at the moment. If you can't share it, why'd you tell me?
But he's constantly trying to get information out of her.
Which is
That's
really what his
his
main goal
goal.
is. Yeah, yeah.
He wants to talk to somebody on the police force or somebody that's investigating, somebody that would know information that the public wouldn't know. That would
Because he wants to break the story.
Yeah, oh, definitely. So he's
And nothing's
not,
changed in
he's
that.
not a very nice person. No, we don't like him.
No, yeah. Well,
And-
we love to hate him.
Yeah, and he kind of, I wouldn't say harasses, but sometimes
He makes a
it
nuisance
kind
of
does.
himself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
definitely.
like follows her around, and which
Yeah.
that's one thing I like about Ike is he is kind of
He's
like
protective.
quick to be
Yeah.
at her defense, and to stand in front of her to get somebody out of the way or what. I mean, he would take a bullet for her. He would for sure. And
Yeah.
you again going back to the 4-year prior timeline. You find out pretty quickly, like, he is head over heels in love with Annie. Ike is. I don't think he's even trying to hide it that well. And, well, because it's, like, pretty early on in this timeline, it's like he's trying to steal kisses, you know? Like,
Yeah.
so they're kind of, like, flirtatious with each other. Again, there was, even at this dinner, I think, which is one of the first things that we get to read about in this timeline, something about a missed kiss, a missed opportunity for them to. It was like close to happening, but didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's like, well, they're both interested in each other. I think that's almost immediately apparent, and to what degree, neither one of them even know yet. And I think, obviously it's pretty clear early on that he's a little more interested in her than maybe she's interested in him, or what she's willing to admit to. She's
Yes.
definitely way more reserved in her feelings towards him than he is to his feelings towards her. But obviously,
And you don't know it right away, but you do find out later on in the book that she's not going to admit it, but she does have feelings for him too.
right. But part of the reason why she holds those feelings back is because she feels like she could never truly be with him, because her family would never allow it.
No.
Would never allow her to be.
He
with
is
him.
not good enough to marry into the royal. He would basically be the Meghan Markle.
Yeah, like they wouldn't want
Yeah.
her to marry like an
The
American.
royal family hates Meghan Markle. Not that I blame them.
I'm not gonna make a comment about that.
Totally my
But-
opinion.
And especially back then. I mean, today it's a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
But back then, like they would need to marry an English person,
Yes.
not an American.
No.
I mean, that was just like unheard of. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that he wasn't well off. He wasn't respected. It wasn't.
He just wasn't.
He was
He wasn't
American.
English,
he wasn't
and
English.
he wasn't
and he
a
wasn't
royal.
royalty.
Yeah.
He didn't have like the right bloodlines or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because usually royals marry royals.
Yeah, exactly. So that was just never going to happen. And so she knew that.
Well, and the royal family still wants it that way these days. They want you marrying into the proper bloodline.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like you said, even Meghan Markle marrying Prince Harry was kind of like, oh my gosh, like that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it did, so it's kind of a little
Yeah.
scandalous.
And it was
almost,
kind
I
of
guess.
cool that American
Yeah.
was married into the.
And they did accept her to some degree. I mean,
Yeah.
but then they opted to just
Separate themselves.
get out of there. But
Yeah. So we moved to December 1885 in Austin. Isaiah and Alice are at the Austin Police Department to see if they can gather information that hasn't been released to the general public. At this point, they're fairly certain that the murders have been committed by only one person. They don't really know, but that's kind of what they suspect. They decide that the next step is to take a walking tour of each of the crime scenes just to see if they can gather any extra information. So that's kind of what they do. All these murders happened in a relatively short amount of time.
they were not far from one
No,
another.
they were close to each other.
Distance wise, they were not. They go on, and I'm trying to think. I feel like I'm getting the two timelines. They're
I
starting
know.
to like.
It's so hard to keep it all straight. So they
meld together a
go
little
out,
bit.
they start checking out all these crime scenes, and they finally realize when they're at one of the crime scenes, they see that sort of one of the methods that the murderer used has changed a little, in that two women were attacked, one survived, and the watch was removed from one of their arms. And of course, they can't figure out why, because that's never happened.
right.
But then
They
that
found
watch
it
shows up on
a-
the next victim's arm
I
or
think so.
somewhere in their
Yeah.
presence. And so then they sort of realized that, okay, that's probably was a calling card of sort, because Jack the Ripper wanted to make sure they knew that this murder was his, that he did it.
But well, now in this timeline, I don't think Jack the Ripper wasn't on the scene yet.
Oh,
right?
well, we're in Austin.
Or we didn't. Yeah, we're in Austin 4 years
So
prior.
we're talking about the Midnight Assassin.
Yes.
Guys,
So
you'll have
I
to
d-
forgive us if we get messed up on the details, because they're referred to
Yeah.
by two different names.
And
So-
Jack the Ripper wasn't until like
London.
however
Yeah.
many years prior or in
Later.
the future.
Yeah.
And again, he wasn't even called Jack the Ripper until I think even later.
until this letter
that
came
letter
out.
came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
But anyway, so no, we're talking about the Midnight Assassin. So yeah, so they're just doing like typical detective work. They're trying to go to the crime scenes. Again, it mentions more than once how the crime scenes are so almost immediately they're compromised. It's just people just coming through and, I mean, just destroying any kind of evidence that could have possibly been left behind, which is very frustrating, I'm sure, for the detectives.
Forgive my French, it was a crap show crime scene back then.
Yes.
They did not treat this crime scene as anything.
It was not sacred or
no.
don't touch anything because we need to, go in and try to find stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that just probably wasn't a thing back then.
No, it wasn't. From what I've understood, if I remember correctly, like these are really the first murders that have ever taken place. First major serial killer case.
Like serial, exactly.
Serial. Do you know what the difference is between a serial killer and a mass murderer?
No.
I'm a huge true crime junkie.
No, I don't.
Okay, so a serial killer is a person that commits several murders separately.
Okay.
A mass murderer kills a whole bunch of people in one location.
Okay.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
Not that that's relevant to the book, but that just popped into
Well,
my
that makes
mind.
sense. That actually does make sense. I was kind of thinking that, but then I didn't want to say if I was wrong.
Brian Kohlberger. Have you heard of Brian Kohlberger?
No.
A couple years ago, he killed the 4 Idaho students at the University of Idaho. He broke into their house, killed 4 of the 6 students that lived there.
I think I did hear about that.
He recently, he was supposed to go up into his court hearing last July, but he pled guilty at the last minute. Okay. And everybody was talking about him being like a serial killer. I'm like, no, he's not a serial killer. He kills all of his victims in one place. He's a mass murderer. He's not a serial killer.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I know that now.
Yeah.
A little piece of information.
A little piece of interesting information. They sort of go through talking about all of it. We think it's one person. They go through like, is this a professional criminal or is this just some crazy person that's just decided to start killing people? And then they kind of switch the next night or that night, whatever. They're together with Isaiah's dad.
Well, back up just a little bit because they got one of his colleagues, because they're professors, college professors or whatever, Mr. Langston, I believe.
Mr. Langston, yeah.
He said, sends word to him somehow, like, right? Because it's so funny to me, like they wrote each other a note, and then okay, let me read that note. Okay, I'm going to write you a note.
Yeah.
Just so,
Yeah.
But telegrams and things like that, But so he sends word that he wants to talk to him, and I guess Annie as well, as detectives. And so they go and talk to him, and he says he overheard this conversation. He didn't say right away that it was Ike's dad was one of the, but eventually he says, well, your dad was one of them. But it was a bunch of professors talking in one of the classrooms, and he could overhear them talking about the Black Midnight.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, they weren't familiar with that term. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean something? And you find out it's like a group.
It's like a secret
of people.
Society.
Yeah.
Kind of a vigilante secret society.
Yes. And so he's like, I think they know who the murderer is, or could be one of them, could be the murderer. And he was like so convincing that I can't help it. I overheard this conversation. I can't forget that I heard what I heard. And he's like, the way that they were talking, they know who did it, or one of them did it, and they're covering up. They're going to cover it up. They're going to protect the murderer. And you're just like, oh my gosh, what? And then he confesses that Isaiah's dad was one of the people in that room. So then he's like, oh my gosh, that can't be. And so he does actually go and talk to his dad and kind of confronts him with that information. I didn't know that he would just come out and say it, or kind of, how you just try to go around but not actually say it, or just trying to fish for information without coming out. But he did. Now, he didn't sell the guy out and tell him who told him, but he said, someone told me they overheard you and other of your colleagues talking about the Black Midnight. He didn't claim that he knew what the Black Midnight was, the Langston guy. Professor Langston. He was like, I don't know what that means, but that's what they've been talking. They said that term so many times. They talked about it a lot. So then Isaiah confronts his dad with that information and says, okay,
What do you know about
what
it?
do you know about the Black Midnight? What is it? And so the dad was like, oh, it's just a group of us that it's just like you said, like a secret society, and we're just trying to help the police solve the crime, or so they had done what did they like? They had given false information, but
They protected people. Well, go back just a little bit.
yeah.
The housekeeper for Isaiah,
Rewind.
his housekeeper kind of outs Annie unintentionally. She's like, you remind me of someone. I can't figure out who it is.
Yeah.
Well, Annie immediately changes the subject.
Yeah.
But anyway, a couple of minutes later, Hattie comes back, and Hattie is such a sweet lady.
Yes,
She's
Miss
their
Hattie.
housekeeper, and she comes back and goes, I know who it is. You look like Queen Victoria,
Yep.
or Queen whatever her name is.
I think it's Victoria.
Yeah. So anyway, so Annie leaves, and this is where she kind of gets this follower, and she knows he's following her, but she's not exactly sure if he's actually following her or if he's just going in the same direction. Well, he calls out to her by her London name and hands her a note from Simon Kent, who is the family friend, her mentor with the police department, and he warns her, you've been ignoring the letters that your dad's been sending, and if you don't want your dad to come after you, you better start answering his letters, because they want to know where she is, what she's doing, and why she's not coming home.
Well, and he's been keeping tabs on her. Again, he's still trying to control her even from afar.
Yeah.
Does kind of threaten to be like, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know, you need to get back home. Because it is like part of it is like she's kind of almost in hiding. She's kind of run away and she doesn't want him to find her. But I feel like he does know where she is.
Yeah.
I mean,
at least generally, he knows where she is.
Or she's trying to stay like one step ahead of him, because I think like the mentor guy, he was like, you know, he tries to kind of give her like a heads up, like, hey, your dad's about to come and try to get you, you know, and find you. You better like move on to the next town or something, you know, like tries to stay maybe just one step ahead.
Yeah.
Because I guess if he had his way, he would just come and drag her kicking and screaming back to London.
Yeah. So while she's walking, she runs across Blake. Blake sort of reappears again, and he's, of course, is digging for information. Well, she doesn't like him, so she's not going to give him information. Well, he offers to buy her information, and she says, I am not for sale. If you want to pay someone information, you can put an ad in the newspaper.
Yeah,
So
I
they
like
have
that.
a little scuffle. Well, he
Yeah.
offers to take her back home or whatever, and she doesn't want to, but then it starts raining, so she jumps in his carriage or whatever, takes her home. Well, Isaiah is there when they get home, and of course he's furious, and so he was like, why are you with him, blah blah blah, which makes her mad, and she's like, I'm not going to qualify my time with you, I don't, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
After this is when Dr. Langston comes into the picture.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Dr. Langston is one that like tells them hundreds of men have been arrested, but none have turned out to be the killer. And he makes mention that the people of this town really want this case to go away because they would just rather that it be forgotten, which is just such a silly notion.
Well, and of course that bothers Annie and Ike, that people just want to, sweep it under the rug. They want to just pretend like it's not a non-existing problem.
Yeah, so they go to see this guy Langston, and they come right out and say, who do you know who the murderer is? And he says it's not a him, it's a they.
Right.
That's where he starts mentioning about the Black Midnight, which is this vigilante group.
And again, they do confront Ike's dad. I can't think of his name right now.
Langston sort of puts the finger on Ike's dad and says, you know, if you want to know who it is, you might want to look in your own family and go talk to your dad. Well, his dad works in the same university as Langston.
Yep. And they're friends. They're colleagues, friends.
Yeah. So they go to his dad's office. And, of course, his dad's like, hey, what are you doing here? Because it's not normal that he's there. And Seth, his dad's name is Seth.
There you go.
And he kind of tells them about this secret group. And Seth finally tells him, look, naming this guy, meaning the murderer, is not going to bring the victims back. So you just need to lay off it because as far as we know, the guy is gone.
But you don't know that either.
Again, I was like, are you kidding me with this?
Yeah, and again,
the guy could literally be down the street plotting his next move.
Yeah, they've fed the media, I guess, some misinformation to try to. There was something they did to try to make the killer want to leave.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly. But whatever it was, they were like, maybe that would like move him on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was their way of helping.
Quote unquote. So anyway, Isaiah says, hey, we can't let this go because the perp could still be out there. So Isaiah shows him a list that Langston gave him that clearly has his father's name on it and tells him that, have we already talked about this? Yeah, I think you've already covered this earlier.
Well, yeah, where Dr. Langston gave him a list of the people that were in
That
that
were in
room,
the group, yeah.
having that conversation that he overheard supposedly.
Yeah.
But the father just kind of explains it away. He's just like, yes, it's kind of a secret group. We're just trying to help.
Like me as a reader, I didn't trust Langston. I didn't trust his dad. You can't trust anybody that's trying to...
Yeah. Cover something.
Yes,
cover it up.
it felt like they were trying to cover up for
Yeah,
something. So I'm like, one of these
agreed.
people must be the murderer.
I know, and I was like, oh no, I don't want it to be Ike's dad. I don't want
Yeah.
him to be involved in some way.
Yeah.
So they kind of just let it go.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough, because I feel like they're not really getting answers. Not good answers anyways, out of Ike's dad or
Yeah.
Mr. Langston or whatever.
Yeah.
But
And
they
so
kind of just
basically
let it go.
when the word began to spread about the Black Midnight, this vigilante group, the murders suddenly stopped. And Seth, this group, attributed it to their efforts.
Right. Like I said, they've kind of spread misinformation that, hey, we're on to you, so he would run away. Something like that.
Yeah. So now we're on the next Christmas Eve, and this is where Annie and Isaiah share their first kiss.
Yeah, so this is around Christmas time that all this is taking place, and he's like, hey, you don't have a place to go. You shouldn't have to spend Christmas Eve in a hotel room. And Hattie, of course, wouldn't hear of it either. And it's like, you're gonna stay at our house. We'll decorate. We'll do all the things. And so she maybe reluctantly agrees. Of
Yeah.
course, she's gonna try to no. And then on the way there, he tries to ask her about her upbringing. Like, what was Christmas like for you growing up? And she will always divert.
Yeah, she will not talk.
She's not going to talk
anything.
about like her childhood,
Because
what
she
it was
doesn't
like.
want them to figure her out.
Exactly. And so she'll always like change the subject. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So it was funny, like in this instance, he was like trying to ask her about something about her childhood or her upbringing, her family. She's like, stop the cart. We got to go into the store. Like, what?
Because it's Christmas.
So yeah, it's just like, okay, was that just a diversion, or did she really just like think about like, oh, I need to bring Christmas presents?
Well,
it was odd.
it could have worked either way. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
I
she's-
mean, it does make sense because she's staying at their
As a
house
guest
for Christmas. It wasn't originally planned, so she probably does want to have gifts for them.
yeah, it was just the timing of it was
Yeah.
like too convenient.
But it was a
to
very
get-
convenient diversion to get
Oh.
the conversation off of her.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So she avoided that, but they go into this store and there's this sweet little clerk, Lucy, that totally helps them do their Christmas shopping. Like they will tell her a few things about a person. She's like, I know exactly what to get.
Yeah.
I know the perfect gift.
I'm just saying, you don't get customer service like that at Walmart.
No, definitely not.
I went to Walmart several years ago, was looking for a shoe spoon.
Oh yeah.
And this was years ago. Like I do not go to Walmart unless I'm dying and have to go in the middle of the night. Absolutely do not like Walmart. But
Yeah.
I went in there years ago and was like, hey, I was looking for it. You know what a shoe spoon is?
Yeah, it helps
Yeah.
you get
Yeah,
your
you put
foot
it
in the shoe.
In the shoe, yeah. I had looked all around the shoe department, couldn't find them, and so I told her, I said, "Hey, I'm looking for a shoe spoon. Do you know where those are?" She goes, "Oh yeah, they're up in housewares."
It's like, not a spoon. She didn't know what that was.
No,
Yeah.
no. Anyway, this woman was giving exceptional customer service.
Like, excessively so. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on here?
Yeah.
So, no, it was just like, oh, yeah, I need to buy something for his dad. Literally, she just met the man maybe two hours prior or something. And, she don't know that much about him. She knows he's a professor. And so, I don't know, they get him like a pen or something. I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so she tries to get a gift for him, for Miss Hattie,
and
for
Isaiah.
Isaiah. Okay, this was cute. They ended up getting each other some kind of a watch. I think he maybe gave her I don't know if it was a wristwatch, or I know she got him probably like one of those,
like a pocket watch.
A pocket watch, because it was funny because like earlier they were like, "What's time is it?" I don't know, my watch is broken. He's like, "Well, I don't know either," because or something. It was
so they each got each other a watch, not knowing the other was getting each other a watch.
Yeah, and because neither one of them had a way to tell the time for some reason.
Yes.
But, so I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
And they each got each other the same gift basically.
Yeah.
But so then it's like they head on. It's like, we'll have the packages delivered to you a little bit later. I'll wrap them up. I mean, customer service that you just don't see anymore.
No.
And even the owner of that store was the one that delivered the packages to their
Yeah,
house.
he delivered the packages on the way home.
Well, it was funny because he had an extra gift in there for Miss Hattie.
Conveniently.
Because he kind of likes Miss Hattie. And then it's funny because Isaiah tells his dad, like, hey, heads up. Like,
Mr. Stanton.
He likes Miss Hattie, and he might be trying to put some moves on her. So if you want to keep her, then you might want to make a move, you know.
Dad sort of grumbles and like, "Rah," but then he immediately bolts.
Yeah.
And of course, you don't see him going to the store, but he comes back a little bit later with a gift for Hattie, you know, and he's like,
and like kind of like professes his feelings for her,
and he says, hey, I ran into Stanton out there, and he delivered that gift to the wrong house by accident, and so he takes the gift from Stanton and throws it out.
Yeah.
So
I thought that was cute.
Yeah, it was a fun little, like, and it's funny that it took realizing
kind of
that somebody else may be after her.
Yeah, like jealousy.
Yeah, for him to be like,
make a move.
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought that was cute.
That was a fun little
side story. And because he did kind of was like, hey, you're my woman now. We'll get married. We'll, you know, and all this. But
yeah.
It was like, but it was so sweet. And then they just have like a good day together, a good evening. And like there's a storm coming in, like sleet, snow and stuff.
Yeah. And again, this is Christmas Eve.
Yeah, so they're making like popcorn garland and different things, trimming the tree, just
a nice festive night.
Yes.
Yeah. So he goes outside to bring in wood for the fireplace.
Yes.
And
he hears
somebody out
in the
woods.
alley or something.
Yeah. So he goes out there, goes to investigate, can't see anyone. He follows their footsteps all the way into town, but when he gets to town, he sort of loses the footsteps because everyone else has been walking. So he comes back, and then he thinks, you know, it might have been somebody looking for wood or something. So he takes a few pieces of wood out to where he's heard them, and then kind of goes back in and thinks about it. Well, tell him what happens a little bit later.
Yeah, so
this is sort of the next big part of the story.
They, I guess, from that house, they can hear commotion going on. I guess they're not far from town or whatever. Yeah. And it's just like, oh my gosh, what has happened? And somebody got murdered.
Yeah, this guy comes up on a horse and says that.
Oh, does he? That's what it was. Yeah. He like comes and.
Yeah. And he's sort of yelling, more murders have happened.
Yeah, well, and you could just hear, it from where they were at, so they must not have been too far from.
Yeah, they weren't too far from town.
And so they go to like, oh my gosh, what has happened? So they go to investigate, and someone else has been unalived.
Yeah, he says the midnight assassin has struck again.
Yeah. So that ended they were having a lovely time, y'all.
Yeah.
Just a lovely time. Oh, we can't forget the mistletoe. They had mistletoe. They finally kissed. So they had a few little mistletoe kisses peppered throughout this night. They were having just a good time. And he was, at this point, I think he was admitting to himself that he was in love with her. And I think he was almost ready to admit that to her, and so on and so forth. But this has just abruptly put an abrupt stop to their
merriment. We have put the brakes on our first little romantic interlude.
Yeah.
He yells out, hey, what's going on? So they go to check it out. Well, and it's a lady that kind of showed up earlier in the book at the senator's lunch. Miss Eula Phillips.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
you're so right.
The murders happened at her house.
She was the one that was murdered, wasn't she?
Yes.
Yes.
And she was, of course, killed with the axe, and her husband was also injured, but he didn't die. And so immediately they think he did it.
Yes, that was another thing, was most of these murders, they wanted to try to say that that the husband or the partner was the one that killed them. And some of them got convicted or almost convicted or overturned or whatever. But
and I have this a lot of times does happen. It feels like in cases like this, they're almost so ready to find somebody to nail on it that, like, I would rather you get the right person than just arrest anybody just to say
we found him, we got him.
Yeah.
But was that really the murderer? Because if it's not, then
what have you accomplished?
you haven't accomplished anything but putting
Yeah.
away an innocent man.
Yeah, while the murderer continues to
Right,
do...
and he's still out doing his thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I agree. I think they were definitely wanting just to pin it on someone.
Because they just wanted this
because
case
they
solved.
wanted it to be solved. Yep.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So anyway, so they kind of go to Eula and they find these 3 pieces of wood that he had set out for the whoever.
Yeah.
They find them on Eula. They're strategically placed, and he speculates that, of course, this killer was just on my property.
Yeah. Yeah.
so
it was like
while-
probably minutes away from maybe even. I mean, if it was just maybe a few minutes earlier, he maybe could have caught up to the guy.
Well, yeah. So while all this is going on, there's a little bit of a disturbance, and guess who shows up? Cameron Blake.
Oh yeah,
The
that
little-
guy crawls out from underneath the rock. You know, he was under.
Yeah.
He's always going to show up. At
He's
like
always
the
going
most
to
opportune time
Well,
for
but
him.
this time he actually does have a little useful information for her because he tells her, "Hey, there's been another murder across town."
Yeah.
They go and she was murdered in her daughter's bedroom. Again, they immediately jump to suspecting her husband, but others suspect it was the Midnight Assassin. These deviate a little bit from the past murders in that Mrs. Hancock and Miss Phillips, the 2 murdered tonight, they weren't servants.
Right.
That's why they're like, well, maybe it wasn't the black.
Right.
Because it totally deviated from the other
Yep.
murders.
I know. It's like there were still similarities, but again, that big difference where they weren't just going to the servants' quarters and killing the servant. Like they went into like the main house and killed,
Yeah.
you know, the lady of the house or whatever.
Yeah. So she sort of suspects that it wasn't the Black Midnight, but Cameron is adamant that it is. You know, he was like, the MO, the way he killed them, the fact that it wasn't servants
Yeah.
may be different, but he said the MO is still the same. So he's adamant that this is the work of the Midnight Assassin.
And it could be. I mean, all you can do is speculate. I mean, maybe he's getting braver and
Yeah.
is upping his game.
Well, why wouldn't you if they can't catch you? I
Right,
mean,
exactly. And I
that's
feel
just-
like the psychology of it is like that's probably something that a murderer.
It gives you confidence.
Not a mass murderer,
Yeah.
but a serial killer. That's something that because they're like, ooh,
Yeah.
like I'm untouchable. They can't catch me, and I'm gonna up the ante. I'm gonna try something that would be maybe even harder, or that like with broad daylight kind of thing instead of
Yeah.
night, or where it's like you're risking being caught, but
Yeah.
because you feel like you're uncatchable.
Yeah, but again, it's kind of like if you look at serial killers tend to follow the same pattern because they want everyone to know. That's so weird. They want everyone to know that they did it, and if you switch your MO, that's going to leave people thinking, oh,
That it might not
yeah.
be them.
And for some reason, serial killers really like
to take credit.
to take credit. Yeah, they want people to know that they don't want people to know who they are, but they want
No, they
those,
don't wanna get
they
caught.
want those murders accredited to them.
Yeah.
So that was sort of a
Yeah.
But anyway, Cameron actually, even though he's an annoying little
Prick.
he does sort of kind of bring
Maybe
a little bit of
proves
logic.
to be a little valuable. Maybe,
Yeah, he
in
does
this
bring a little
scenario.
bit of logic to it in this scenario because he tells her, you know, the people in this town are so hesitant to believe that the assassin is back that he thinks the police are going to try to pin these murders on the husbands,
And they do.
but he predicts that the assassin is responsible and that more murders could come. So anyway, so he sort of talks her into like, even though you're not sure that this is the work of the Midnight Assassin because the method changed, let's not discount that the assassin is back. So even though he's kind of annoying, he does help, at least in that way.
Yes, I agree. There might be a few times in the book where he actually maybe does give her some valuable information that maybe she didn't have.
Yeah,
prior
but he
to.
always does it to get something in return.
Definitely.
He's not an altruistic person.
So, I mean, I feel like, yeah, maybe there's a few times that he might tell her something that she doesn't already know, but for the most part, it's stuff that she's maybe already suspects.
Yes.
But she's not going to tell him.
Or
that.
stuff that she already knows, but she just is not going to tell him. I already knew that.
And it talks about how like she schools her expressions and things to where she's not giving something away by like.
And I wish I had that gift. Everything is written on my face. I can't keep anything.
So it's just like, like poker face and of course she's not going to share information. And I feel like he should know this by now. Why does he even bother? Why does he continue to bother with her? I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Because
he wants to be annoying. He's hungry for a story. But
she's not giving away anything. Now, one thing that it does talk about that we haven't mentioned, there was a story about her in the papers. You find that out at the beginning of the book. It does mention it, that there was like some kind of unfavorable story about her in the papers that got back to the royal family that maybe made her look bad or made the royal family look bad. So there was like that little aspect to it. And then when, they introduce him as a reporter, you're like, oh, I bet he was the one that wrote that story. And so then you kind of like every interaction that he has with her, I'm like, okay, what's he going to use in that interaction to like skew it and twist it and to turn it into some kind of story?
Yeah.
I mean, were you thinking?
Yes, because he is just unscrupulous enough to do that. Like
because
he is not a man of integrity.
Yes, and that there was some story came out about her that was maybe unfavorable or something. So, and you have to know that it was him that did it, but you don't find that comes later when that actually happens. But yeah.
So it's the next morning. It's Christmas morning. They're having breakfast, and then they decide we're going to go to the police station and just see if there's any new information that is coming in. Well, while they're there, a man comes in with a couple of pieces of bloody wood. Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh no! Did you just provide him with a murder weapon?
Right? Yeah, and he has to speak to an officer. The man tells them that this is a civilian. This is not a police officer. The man tells Isaiah that a deputy at the scene told him to cut the floorboards in a section of the fifth post and bring it in. Okay, you're the police officer. Isn't that your job?
Oh, that's funny.
Again,
but it is some kind of evidence. At least, like, the fact that he literally cut part of the floor out and brought it with him.
And
so
it does have a footprint on it. So
so at least they are trying to maybe preserve some kind of evidence. Yeah. But that was so funny. It's like, well, just cut it off and bring it with you.
But the deputy marshal is very frustrated at them because these people are tampering with evidence. He's mad at the civilians because they're just in chaos. They're trampling all over
just destroying
the evidence. But they find out, okay, this is one thing I didn't really understand about it. They get to looking at it. It's a footprint, but one of the toes is missing.
Oh, yeah.
So why would somebody be barefoot in a murder scene?
Good question.
Yeah, so the marshal or whatever, he's like, well, yeah, he said, but it could just be the way the person stepped. They could have not put as much pressure on that toe. So it doesn't necessarily mean the toe is missing. But anyway, my first thought was, why was this person running around the murder scene barefoot?
And then, like, nothing else is ever said about it.
No,
they don't go back to that at
it's just
all. Like, it's just lost.
Yeah, so you never really know
like
if this...
Did anything ever come of it? And I guess it didn't.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny. Like, I mean, as far as like Christmas Day, those were two of the longest days. Like so much of
no doubt.
So much of that was like dang, we're still in the same day.
Yeah.
Like, we just read and read and read and read. I mean, I can't remember how many pages it was. And
I
it's like,
mean,
oh my gosh, this is still Christmas Eve day.
Yeah,
that
and
we're talking about.
it was kind of fun to sort of read, but it was slow.
Yeah.
There was not a lot that happened there.
Yeah. I mean, that was one thing that I was just like, wait a minute, are we still talking about Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
Are we still on the same day?
Yeah, yeah.
And then that Christmas Day, too, I think was another, like, long day that they spent a lot of time in talking about in the book. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like, you know, them going to the police station, because it's like, okay, we're not police officers, but they still can work with them. And the police officers, I feel like, at the very least, they humor them. I don't know that they're super happy that they're there and that they're also investigating the same thing that they're investigating. But, you know, it's kind of like, well, maybe we can share information with each other. But, I mean, because it's kind of like the way that it's presented, at least, is that the people that hired the Pinkerton detectives doesn't have very much faith at all in the actual police officers to figure something out and do something. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's almost like they don't respect them.
Yeah.
And believe that they can do their job very well. So it's like, well, hire somebody else to come in and do it for you, kind of thing. So I can understand maybe why the police officers would kind of maybe have a chip on their shoulder or not want to work with the Pinkerton detectives.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah.
they kind of do a little bit here and there.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I think we ought to go into a spoiler zone at this point. You
Okay.
think? We're probably about
Yeah.
halfway through the book or so. So we don't want to give too much information away. If you think this is a book you're going to read, stop here. Thank you guys that are leaving. We thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. For those of you that are hanging around, we'll see you after the break. All right, so they leave the police station, and what do you know it? They run into Blake. He hands her a telegram that her hotel gave to him. Now, why would a hotel employee hand out a telegram?
Yeah.
So
That
of
was
course,
fishy.
of course, she's furious about it. She's mad at him because how dare you go and pick up a piece of my mail? And she's, of course, logically is mad at the hotel, and she tells
the
them,
worker.
"Do not give any more of my mail to anyone but me, especially not this creep."
Yep.
But then, who is it from? Do you remember?
It was from, was it from her dad?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's coming to town.
Yeah.
And she better be where she's supposed to be because he wants to see her immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So she immediately responds and says, hey, I can't return because I'm working on a case. And of course, they're trying to keep the location confidential. She avoided communications with her dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not because she's angry at him, just because they want her to get there, do what she's supposed to do, and get back. And she's not ready to go back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're ready for her to return. Because, again, it's like they're not happy that she's there, but they're kind of allowing it, at least for the time being. Yeah.
Yeah. So as they're out walking around, they're talking about the murder scene, and Isaiah suddenly remembers that the victim, who is still alive, had on no shoes, but he was wearing an overcoat, which is strange because it's cold outside. He was outside. And I guess that could explain the footprint. If he was, While they're looking in on the victim, this is where the mother comes out, and she's very upset because she's like, how did these murders happen and I didn't hear them? I was right here in the house when it happened.
Yeah.
And again, you're like, well, yeah, why didn't you? How can you hack someone to death and no sound?
It's not going to be quiet.
No, it's not like
going to be silence while that's happening.
It's not like a quick death where
Exactly.
they're talking to the maid. The maid has already washed all the clothes from the scene.
I was like, oh my God.
These people
are
are
kidding me
they're their
right
own
now?
worst enemies. Well, he has a
Like,
question.
yeah, I washed them.
Yeah, she
course I did.
immediately washed them because, why not?
They're dirty. They needed to be
We need
washed.
to get the blood off all these.
It's like, I mean, did they not think for 1 second that could be evidence of some kind, like...
Okay, so here, No, clearly they didn't. But part of me wonders, okay, you and I are not in criminal justice at all, but we've watched enough CSI to know
That's right.
if you walk into a room and someone's dead, you don't touch anything.
Exactly. And nowadays we know that. I
But
think
back
people
then, they
just know
didn't
that.
because they didn't have CSI that came on every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock.
Exactly. And you got to preserve the crime scene.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, everybody knows now you don't run in and wash all the bloody clothes.
Unless you're trying to hide something.
Exactly.
And that makes you look guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's just, I just thought that was kind of funny, because he's asking her something about some red socks or whether the red socks were wet or bloody when she found them. And she's like, oh, I don't know. I just washed them.
And I still don't quite understand why.
That was important.
Yeah, what was her thought process? Why were you asking? Why did it matter? I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, of course, they're frustrated because the whole crime scene has been just ruined.
Oh, yeah.
So they leave to go to the second victim. We're still talking about the victims that were killed on Christmas Eve. They go to the next house, the Hancocks. They learn nothing there. And they learn again that no one at this house heard the murders happen.
That's just crazy.
Yeah. And they're like, why is this assassin able to commit silent murders for murders that should not be silent? Which is a good question.
It's like he's a ghost or something. It just does not.
Yeah,
make
it's
sense.
like he's a phantom or something. So anyway, so they're really frustrated, and of course, during the midst of all this frustration, he decides to blurt out, "Hey, I love you."
Yes, that's right. Oh my gosh. And then he immediately regrets just kind of blurting it out. Like, oh my gosh, that is not how I wanted that to go. That's not how I wanted to tell her that I loved her for the first time.
And of course, she doesn't return.
No.
And I got to tell you, this is why I absolutely am not a fan of romantic suspense. Now, this is not romantic suspense. Romantic suspense absolutely infuriates me because you've got these people, they're in the most horrible time in their life. A serial killer's chasing me across the United States. Oh my gosh, I love you. I must have you now.
Well,
it makes
now's
no
not
sense.
the time.
Now's
Now's not the time.
Yeah, it makes zero sense why people
It's
in
like-
trauma would fall in love with someone.
Yeah. Well,
Why?
and your mind should be elsewhere on like the person chasing you, trying to kill you.
It
not
absolutely
on,
is so illogical.
Yeah.
And listen, I read a lot. I'm very good at suspending reality. I cannot in romantic suspense. It's just, this makes no sense.
Well, it's just unrealistic that they would take the time to do that or stop and do that. Yeah.
Now, I can understand, like, I would be like, okay, this person's very attractive. Maybe I'm not going to act on it right now, but maybe, when the serial killer's caught and they're not chasing me across the United States anymore, maybe, but like, why would that even enter someone's mind when they're in the most traumatic time of their, I can't accept that as a reader.
I will say this. I think going through something like that would bond you to a person.
Trauma bonding.
Like, yes, trauma bonding. Like going through the same experience or a similar experience can definitely bond you. And I think there definitely can be there's intense feelings.
Oh, for sure.
Happening.
Do you think when you're in a situation like that, when you're experiencing such exaggerated feelings, can you misinterpret what you're going through with attraction for this person?
I think so. Yeah. I think that probably happens a lot in that. I mean, how many people go through these kind of scenarios? But
well, very few.
But yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, trauma bonding, and I think you can misinterpret maybe romantic.
What you're feeling.
What you're feeling for maybe romantic feelings for that person. But
I don't know. I'm like, maybe I'm just not a romantic person because I don't know. I just cannot imagine being in the worst time of my life and being like, oh, babe, you hot. Let's fall in love right now. No, I want to make sure I'm not going to get murdered before I take you out on a date.
Well, and I will say, I guess in defense of this book, that I think they do, like, obviously they might have like their moments here and there, but for the most part they're like, okay, we have to stay focused on this.
Well,
Like,
and that was
we
an
have a job
agreement
to do
up front. They
Yeah.
decided up front, we are not going to let feelings,
Yeah.
personal romantic feelings, we're not going to do anything about it until
Yes.
until we've solved this case.
And they do kind of agree on that, and then
they do a pretty good job of it.
And they do
Until now.
Yeah, so there are just moments where it's like he's like, I can't help it. I
Yeah.
can't, I gotta like express this,
But I just don't understand why you've just left these grisly murder scenes. You're frustrated because all of your evidence has been washed away by a maid who didn't know not to wash the clothes. And then all of a sudden, like, why all of a sudden do you decide, oh, I'm going to tell her I love her?
Well,
It makes no sense.
a little bit of context though here is that because I think the conversation leading up to that, I think they were talking about Cameron, the reporter, and like, what lengths would he go to? Like, would he do this or would he do that? Like, or would he even like try to say that I love you or something like that? There was like a little context to it where it wasn't just blurted out. It kind of led the context.
I guess I had
led
forgotten
to that.
Okay.
Yeah, where he's just like, or even that or the fact that I love you. It's kind of, it was a dialogue, and it was like the last part of the dialogue, like, well, he's going to try to say this, or he's going to try to say, or he's going to try to use that against, or the fact that I love you. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, I just said that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't just blurting it out
Okay.
with like no kind of context there. There was some context.
Yeah. Well, she sort of rebuffs him. She doesn't say it back. Well, he tells her, hey, I know we decided we're not going to do anything about our relationship while we're working the case. I can just quit my job, go back to being a lawyer, because then they wouldn't be colleagues. Mm-hmm. And she says, no, you can't do that because you'd never be happy with that. And he knows it's true.
Yeah.
So he suggests they both quit. They open their own detective agency together, and then they're going to call it Joplin and Joplin, which means
they would be married, which she kind of like doesn't catch, and she's like, you and your dad?
Yeah.
He's like, no.
He's like, no, me and
but
you.
But don't they kind of get interrupted when doesn't her dad show up?
Well, yeah.
Around this time frame?
So she tells him, no, we're not going to do that. Well, he gets frustrated, takes her back to the hotel. So when they get to the hotel, her dad is there.
It's like a confrontation between.
Yes.
Ike actually encounters the dad, I think,
First.
before she does.
Yeah.
Like at the front desk or whatever, and he's kind of like, there's like an encounter there where they kind of like, it's not like a friendly introduction of, like, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm so-and-so. It's kind of like, oh, you're so-and-so.
Yeah.
And I think she's kind of there, like, witnessing it off to the side. But yeah, so it's kind of like and then it's the three of them, and he's like, look, you don't have to do what he's telling you. Like, let's just run away together. Like, let's just get married and let's just do our own thing. You can leave all that behind, because he does find out before this, I think he finds out that she is royalty. Am I wrong?
I can't remember if it's before this or after this, but yeah, at some point she does finally confess it, because something happens and she can't hide it anymore. So she finally fesses up, says, yes, I don't want anyone else to know this, but
yes, I
am a princess.
The great granddaughter of Queen Victoria.
Yeah.
So I think just right before this, she kind of does tell him, so he figures it out.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is when he and the dad have this conversation, the dad tells him, you're leaving town in 3 hours to go to Boston. It's a job that you have to accept because the Queen has said you have to. And I thought that was interesting. Like, are we bound to the directives of the Queen? Yeah.
Well, Americans aren't, but
he told him you have to.
He was telling Ike this, yes. Yeah. Well, and I guess as a Pinkerton detective, this is your directive. This is your directive from your boss, the Pinkerton boss. So it's kind of like they talked to the people that's over the Pinkerton detectives, and they were like, this is what we want to hire him, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of like, you have to do this because this is your job. Your boss is saying this is what you have to do.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Annie steps in and she was like, no, he can't do that because we have assignments here. And Dad says, oh, no, you don't.
Like, your assignment's over, basically.
Yeah. And so at this point, Isaiah asks her again to marry him.
Yeah, like,
So
hey,
that
run
they
away with
can-
me, dude.
Yeah.
Run away with me. Forget all this. You don't have to do what they're telling you have to do.
You don't have to
We'll be
deal
fine.
with your parents.
We'll just go. We'll live our lives. We don't need them, And
And of course, she says, no, we can't
She-
do that because my family will become destitute because the queen controls the purse strings.
she would cut
in the
them, like
family.
cut her parents off, cut
Yeah.
them off financially, and like that would just be the worst thing.
Yeah.
It's so funny, but a little bit later on, she's like, "Well, Dad, you could actually get a job and support yourself." I loved that.
That's
so much.
hilarious.
That's jumping
Yeah.
ahead a little bit, but I just love that so much. It's like, well, what if she does cut you off? Get a job, support yourself. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. So we're kind of done with this time period. There is
Yeah.
one little scene in there. They're at a New Year's Eve party. Marshall Fields is having this party. The captain comes up to talk to her, shows her a newspaper article that Blake has written. It's
Yeah.
about her and Isaiah,
Yep.
and both the queen and her dad have seen it. So
Yep.
now they're officially busted.
Yes, and she, I think, in that moment during that encounter, she was like, "No, I'm not going with you. I will go. Like, I'm leaving you behind.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I'm going to go back to London, to England,
Yeah.
and deal with my family.
And deal with the family, yeah.
So
And-
she kind of breaks his heart in a way. She refuses his proposal.
This is where that broken heart comes in. Yeah, then at this point, the story jumps forward 4 years later.
Yep.
They're in London, 1889, and the murders, Jack the Ripper is on the scene.
Yes. So now we have a murder spree going on in London. I'm assuming that they're similar to the murders back in Austin 4 years ago, because obviously they're thinking it's the same guy.
Yes.
So there's got to be some similarities there. I'm assuming like hacking the victims up with a knife or a machete or an axe or whatever
Whatever they're using.
So yeah, we're back to where we started the book.
Yeah.
Was the queen saying, "Hey, I want you to investigate this, get you a team together."
And the scene starts with Isaiah coming to London.
Yep.
He goes to talk to the queen, and the queen tells them, we're putting
Yeah,
you guys back on this.
Because I suppose, going back to where I was like, did we know Isaiah agreed to this or not? I don't think we did. I don't think we knew until now
Yeah.
that he'd actually agreed
This is when we
to
find
go
out.
to London and help with it.
Yeah.
And like in doing so, he pretty much alienated his girlfriend / fiance, whatever you want to call her, back home.
Theodora Rampley.
Theodora. He pretty much, that was Tim telling her, "I'm choosing her over you."
Yeah.
So I think that it effectively kind of ended their relationship. I mean, maybe he could have gone back and tried to work things out. That
Yeah.
I think you're I think they even kind of maybe talk about it a little bit, where she's just like, "So does this mean now, because you came and accepted the offer to work on this with me, does that mean that you guys are over?" And I think he's basically like, "Yeah, I think that's what that means."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't even think he's like, "Now I don't think they would support me to be the local dog catcher." I thought that was funny.
Yeah. And I feel like the queen bringing them here, I feel like it was a little bit self-serving, because one of Annie's uncles, the prince, is under the gun. He is a suspect.
Uncle Eddie.
Yeah, they think he might be Jack the Ripper.
Which is
well,
like,
of course,
what?
Yeah.
How did they arrive at that conclusion?
I have no idea.
I mean, I think he was in line for the throne, I think.
Yeah. And I don't think the queen really thinks that he did it, but she said, "I want you guys to investigate him
it.
like you would anyone else.
Like, don't be
And we
partial."
need to eliminate him as a suspect.
Right.
That way we can move on and get the real guy."
Because for some reason, rumors had started spreading that he could be the murderer. So just the fact that rumors were spreading, whether or not it had any validity, whether it was true or false, but the fact that people were saying it was being talked about.
Yeah. Well, and you
they
kind of
had to
have
do
to
something
follow
about
up on
that.
it, because what
Yeah.
if you don't and it winds up being that person? The police department winds up with egg on their face.
Yeah, well, and the royal family. I mean, you don't want that kind of thing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's scandalous. And,
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure they would normally maybe just try to cover something like that up.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, but she's just like, "No, we're not just going to cover it up, make it go away. Let's investigate it." So appreciated that about
Well, which
the
again
queen.
is self-serving. I feel like a little bit
Yeah.
because they want everyone to know, or at least everyone that's in the know, to know our family is not culpable in this
Yeah.
murders. Yeah.
So to clear the royal name, the royal
Yeah.
family. So I'm sure you're right.
But
and
if you've got somebody in your family that's innocent, you want them to be found
exonerated,
innocent. Yeah.
yes, and I think they like just about everybody that knows Uncle Eddie knows that like nah, he's not capable of doing. He's not the murderer, you know. And because one thing they do talk about is how they have come to the conclusion that the murderer has to be a strong man, capable of like really, wielding whatever an axe or
I'm
whatever
just
it
saying.
is
Yeah. You
to really hack someone apart like that.
a
they would
wimp
have
could not kill somebody with an axe, probably.
exactly somebody with any kind of a impediment, just not going to be physically be
Yeah.
able to do that. So they're
Yeah.
like, okay, look at Uncle Eddie over here,
He hasn't done an honest
Like, at
day's
one
work in his whole life.
At one point, he's like playing tennis or something, and they like go to like see him, and he's like in a little tennis match, and
Yeah.
they're like, look at the way he even swings the tennis racket, like he's
Yeah.
a wimp.
Yeah, there's no way this
There's
guy.
no way he could. Yeah.
Well, and they finally do through through palace records. They finally say that it's not possible that he's
Yeah.
responsible because he wasn't in Austin at the time that the murders over there happened.
If in fact it's the same man that did both.
Of course, at this point,
They
they're
can't prove
going
that. They don't
on
know
the
that.
assumption that it is the
But
same
they were
person.
like, yeah, so if it is the same, he wasn't in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
So there's he
Yeah.
didn't, we know for a fact he didn't do those murders. And so that,
But they don't know with 100% certainty.
Yeah.
For all they know, it could be two separate people. But they're
Right.
really, at this point, they're operating on the assumption Annie is pretty sure that it's the
Yes.
same person.
yes, they believe that it definitely could be. And so,
Yeah.
so they're trying to maybe prove his innocence.
While they're out, what?
While they're out and about, who do they come across? Now they're by this Whitechapel, which is where all these murders have been
Yes.
taking place. So they're
Dr. Langston shows up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
there's no reason for him to be
wait,
there because he works in the university in Austin.
yeah. Why is he in London?
Why is he here?
At Whitechapel, where these murders took place, and didn't even really have a good excuse. for
No,
being
he
there.
didn't have a good
I was like,
excuse, and then he pulls Isaiah aside, and he's like, hey, come here.
yeah,
I got some information for you.
Yeah.
There's this guy I know. He's a cook. He used to work at some palace in Austin, and
makes the best steaks.
he has exemplary knife skills. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
come
yeah,
on.
Too obvious throwing
Yeah.
this guy under the bus.
Yeah, and so he tells Isaiah where this guy lives, blah, blah, blah. He tells Isaiah that the man has a terrible temper. He cooks a perfect steak, but he has a horrible temper. And, and he once saw the man throw an axe at a girl when he worked at the Pearl House in Austin. I'm like, dude, you are trying. This
Too
is
hard.
At this point, I was like, this is the guy
Yeah.
because he is trying
Yes.
too hard.
Totally agree.
He,
Totally
like,
agree. To
yeah.
throw somebody else under the bus.
Like, did you know at
Like,
this point, or strongly
I
suspect?
knew that he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew that he was up to no good.
Yeah,
I didn't know if he was like Jack the Ripper, but
yeah. Like I was fairly certain at this point because I'm like, dude, you're trying too hard.
yes, but he's definitely trying to throw somebody under the bus and make that person look
Or
really
he
guilty.
knows who Jack the Ripper is, and he's trying to
Protect
divert.
him.
He's trying to divert the police away from the real. But when I read this, I was like, he's the murderer.
And it took me a minute to be like, oh wait, he's the same guy that was like, hey, I overheard this conversation. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the same guy. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah,
Yeah, it's the same guy.
yeah.
So anyways, Isaiah jots the man's address down with the intention of him to go look for this guy with the exemplary knife skills or this guy that's throwing the axe. It's kind of two different people. So basically, Langston's giving him two different options for who Jack the Ripper
It's like
could
just
be.
pick one.
Just pick one.
you know,
Yeah, as long as it's not me, just pick one. So they drop Langston off at his hotel. They're talking on their way to Buckingham Palace. They kind of have the love conversation again. He's still in love with her. And this is where we kind of find out she admits to herself that Annie is in love with him, but she just won't admit it out loud.
Right. She's always been the one to be holding back.
Yeah.
And she still is up to this point.
So they kind of go their own separate ways. Annie's in her room. She's sort of pouring over all the information. She's thinking about the 2 different cases in Austin and London.
Sure.
Next morning, but he also says they've come across another suspect, a knife thrower, of course,
Yeah.
in the Buffalo Bill show, who has ties to both Austin and London. How are there so many men in this little town that has ties to both places?
Oh, I know.
It's just
Like,
it's a little bit too convenient.
well, yes, I agree. And obviously, a lot of this is just her writing fiction.
yes.
But I agree. Like,
You gotta have some
like, all of a sudden,
options.
you have all these options.
Of who it could
Like,
be, yeah.
I'm just complete. Like, you go for years and not really have any idea who it could possibly be, and all of a sudden you got like 3 viable suspects, 3 or 4.
yeah. So they go visit this guy, and they immediately realize, okay, this guy could not have been the murderer because he fell off of a horse. He didn't have the money to have his arm set. He broke his arm. So they said there's no way he could hack people with an axe because his shoulder is not strong enough to carry off the murders. So he's eliminated. They go to speak with Prince Eddie to ask if he knows anything about the Black Midnight. He tells them he does, and that they've kept an oath to protect the killer.
It's like, here we are again in the same conversation about the Black Midnight.
Yeah. He doesn't know who the killer is, but the Black Midnight knows.
Well, and everybody that they've talked to that knows anything about the Black Midnight is not giving up hardly any information about
They're
it.
definitely keeping their oath of silence.
Yes. And it's just like, why? Why are you protecting a murderer?
Yeah.
I mean, if in fact they are, but it kind of seems like they are, and she suspects that they are, so she just gets very, very little information, even from her detective friend, because he hardly would give her. He knew a little bit about it too, and he would hardly give any information, and he's like a police officer.
Well, part of me wonders if it was because she was a woman, because back in this day, I don't think men would have appreciated working with a woman in this capacity.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I'm sure it was unorthodox to have a female detective.
And I could see men being like, I'm not giving her information. She's a woman.
Right.
Yeah.
But she could, I mean, I liked this character. She could definitely hold her own.
She did. She was not
Not a damsel in distress
she
at
was not.
all.
Yeah.
Even like dealing with Blake Cameron, that reporter that kept pestering her. Like, she's just like, even though Ike maybe would want to step in and try to protect her.
She didn't need his protection.
She was, like, I got this. I can handle this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I liked her as a character. I mean, she was really enjoyable to read about. And the fact that she was royalty and she did have that like side to her where she could maybe step into that role and play that part. But I liked that she was independent and wanted to live a life outside of that, and to prove herself that she is somebody of worth that has no connection to something like the royal family, because that just totally defines you.
Yeah.
If you're part of the royal family.
Oh, for sure.
And so like there's no identity outside of that. And I think she wanted to have identity outside of that. So I think that's really cool that she went off to America. She went to a different continent
I'm
to
saying,
start a life of her own
I've
away
never
from
done
family.
that. I don't think I would have the nerve to do that.
Yeah, so I was like, good for her,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the next morning, Blake again shows up. He demands to know why Jack the Ripper hasn't been caught. And he also tells her there's a rumor that he doesn't believe, but he says the palace is protecting the killer, the Queen's palace.
Yeah.
So as he leaves, he tells her the Black Midnight is not a myth. And if she wants to know for sure, you need to go ask your dad.
Yep. That he is involved in some way.
Yeah. So she throws him out of the house and is furious of the insinuation. But then what does she do? She promptly goes to see her dad to get the story.
Well, why on earth did this reporter ever even make it in anywhere close to the interior of that castle?
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
That doesn't even make sense. He shouldn't even have gotten inside the gate.
Well, exactly. More or less inside.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I don't know.
I mean, did they not have a perimeter around this place? You know, like protection? Like, how did he?
I mean, maybe the royal family wasn't as protected back then, but I can't imagine it.
Yeah. But, you know, for him to just actually be able to get that far and to like request audience with her and to get it.
Yeah.
Like, was like, what just happened? How did he even get that far? But
yeah.
anyways,
I guess only the author knows.
because all he did was like, I'm here to see, you know, blah blah blah, whatever her name was. Okay, question. Because what is her official full name?
The author?
No. Annie's like official royal title or whatever.
I don't.
Because it's Alice and something, and it's like, okay, is it Wetton or Wheaton?
Alice and Von Wetton.
Yes. Is it Wetton? I want to say Wheaton, but I was like, I don't think that's right. I think it's Wetton.
It may be. Yeah, I'm not sure.
But anyways, that was like bothering me. I'm like, so Wetton or Wheaton?
It's Wettin, so it looks like Wetton.
I know.
British names can be pronounced differently than they're spelled. I went with the phonetic spelling.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of did too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so him saying,
because
I want to.
we're Hicks that way.
Yes, we are. Good old Arkansas Hicks.
That's right.
But yeah, so he requested an audience with her, and he got it at the palace. So imagine
Because that's real.
Yeah, that's realistic. Not. So agreed. She goes to see her dad. I'm assuming they don't live far from there. I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure it's a place that the royal family owns, one of their properties.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she confronts her dad with this information.
And he claims to know no more than the rumors that they all have heard.
Again, like, gets hardly anything out of him as well. Like, no one wants to talk about this secret society. And it kind of makes you think, I mean, doesn't it make you think, like, well, this has got to be like bad news. This has got to be like the mafia or something.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't it make you like feel like it's like, man, if you talk about them, you're going to end up unalived.
You're going to be in the river with a cinder block holding you down.
Exactly. Because otherwise, why are people so afraid to talk about it?
Again, it goes back to what we're saying. It makes literally no sense. Everybody on both sides of the ocean, they want to just bury it.
Yeah,
they want to pretend it doesn't exist.
Stuff that they know about it. So
yeah.
At any rate,
I just can't imagine covering for a killer.
No, and I don't know that they are, but it's at the same time, but they're not being forthcoming though with the fact that they're not.
With what they do know, yeah. Yeah.
At least defend the fact that you're not doing that, and we're not even doing that.
Yeah,
so
but that's almost by not defending it. It's almost like,
their silence makes them look guilty.
But it also kind of like it you have to cast a wide net. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It could be anybody. If nobody's talking, it could be anybody.
Right. Well, you could narrow it down. I mean, they're not helping her narrow it down
because that's what you do basically in a situation. You have to. It's a process of elimination.
Yeah.
You've got 80 people that you think it could be. Then you have to process of elimination till you get down to one person.
Right.
And it's hard to do that when nobody will talk.
Yeah, not getting help from anybody. Mm-hmm. Oh, another thing that was interesting, because she took out on her own, didn't take Ike with her, and she went to like these houses of where these murders took place.
Yeah.
And like no one would talk to her.
Nobody.
Like,
again, she's a woman. Although I wonder, because in London, they're in London at this point.
Mm-hmm.
In London, wouldn't the people known who she was? Like, why would people not talk to her because she's in the royal family?
But did they? I mean, I don't know. Did they realize she was?
Maybe they didn't. Like in my mind,
because she was there as like a detective, not as.
Yeah. Well, and maybe they wouldn't, because I mean, let's be honest.
It had been a long time since she'd been around.
President Trump, we know who his kids are, but I don't know who all of his.
Right.
So maybe people in London might not have known the great granddaughter of the Queen.
And she'd been kind of out of the picture for a while, so I don't know. But yeah, she was not getting anywhere hardly with anybody that she talked to. They just was not very forthcoming with information. So
which is par for the course for this case.
Yeah, so her dad was like hardly any help at all. So are we to the point of her writing those notes yet?
let's see.
Getting close to
Okay,
it,
so
I
she
think.
tells him she thinks he knows who is doing the killing, both here in Austin. When he sent for her and she didn't respond, he came to get her and bring her back to himself to keep her out of the way of the killer. That's what she thinks. She
Oh,
thinks
that's right. She did have kind of a theory.
he doesn't respond to the accusation. And so, for some reason, to her, that means she's right. And he begs her to tell him, for him to tell her about it. And he tells her he can't. And if the queen sent her to tell her the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's just very suspicious. She talks to the great-grandmother about it. The great-grandmother confesses that she knows about the Black Midnight because up until this point, nobody really knew for sure that this group existed other than a very elect few. Well, Grandma, the queen, finally says, yes, this group does exist. I know about them. There are a bunch of scholars as well as royal members who are a part of the group, but she had never been concerned about it because their goal was to protect people. So she never really thought much about it.
It was funny how she described them. What did she say? Like a bunch of men acting like little boys or
Yeah.
something like that. I just thought
Yeah.
that was funny.
Yeah.
Her very brief explanation as to who the Black Midnight was.
The next morning, Isaiah gets a note with his breakfast that he and Annie are wanted at Scotland Yard. Did I not write down any notes? What are these two letters you're talking about?
Okay,
Did
well, because I
not-
do want to just briefly talk about
Okay.
them because I think,
I don't think I
we've-
wrote anything down about that.
So her sister, Beatrice, she writes her a note saying, "What do you think I should do? Give me advice." Because she's fallen in love with somebody
That's right.
that's not acceptable for
Yeah.
her to marry. And she's like, "What should I do? Should I go ahead and just follow my heart and marry the man that I love, or should I give him up and be just part of the royal family the way that they would want me to be and marry somebody that would want me to marry?" And so she wrote her a note saying, "Marry him." And then she wrote Isaiah a note saying, "I should have said yes."
Yeah.
So she gives the notes to
His proposal.
right, in
Yeah.
which he would know what she meant by
Yeah.
that.
But the maid.
She gives give this note to my sister, give this one to Ike. Well, she gets them mixed up, so she gives the wrong notes to
course,
the wrong
he's like,
person.
What?
And
marry
yeah, so
who?
he's like, "Marry him."
Yeah.
I'm a dude.
I'm
I
a
don't-
dude.
not that kind of a dude.
I want to marry you, not...
And then the sister just interprets what she read as like, because I should have said yes or whatever, and she just thought that meant say yes to
Yeah.
the guy you love. And
Yeah.
but anyways, I just thought that was funny. And then they kind of don't address it though until a little bit later, where he was like, "I haven't had a chance to like ask you what was that about," and she finally did confess to him what she wrote. She said,
Yeah.
"I wrote that I should have said yes."
The letters got mixed up. Yeah.
And they got mixed up, and he was like, and then he had a moment of silence, but she misinterpreted, and she thought it meant that he had moved on and didn't love her anymore. And so then she started trying to backtrack, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, or whatever." He's like, no. And he like kissed her, and then she still was trying to be like, I'm sorry. And then he like kissed her again or whatever. But so that was like their moment of, and he's just like, "No, I still love you." And it was cute because she's like, "Well, I've not had a chance to tell you how I feel." And he was like, "Now's your chance." And instead, like, it's funny because it's like, she didn't actually say it, and he's like, "But what are the words?" You know what I mean? And she's probably like, "Okay, yes, I love you." She finally just says the words instead of like not just alluding to it.
Yeah.
That was cute. I think they were in the carriage when all this went down, maybe.
Oh, my. Yeah.
But so they finally professed their love for one another, confessed, and also decided like, this is it. We're in this together. We're gonna get married. We're gonna, like, I hope my family's okay with this, but even if they're not, I don't care anymore. This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I want. So, but yeah, thought that was cute. Like getting the letters mixed up, and thought that was cute.
Yeah.
So yay!
All right. So
Where we
they're summoned to Scotland Yard. They go there, and Simon tells them that the tests on the knives that they found for the cook have come back inconclusive. So no help there. He also tells them that a detective went back to the cook's home to check for anything that might have been missed, and while he was there, a note is slipped under the door containing Annie's and Isaiah's
Which
names.
was, didn't they? Like, what does that mean? It was literally their names.
Yeah.
That was it. What
And
is
why-
that supposed to mean?
Yeah.
Why?
What's
the
was,
point
it
of
was
that?
kind of weird. The detective didn't see the person, but they did see
His sleeve.
that the sleeve was
a tweed
was a
jacket or
tweed
something.
jacket. Well, ta-da! Isaiah remembers that when they saw Dr. Langston, what was he wearing?
A tweed jacket.
A tweed jacket. So now they think he is the killer. But Simon tells him as of now, okay, we have a suspect, not a killer, and until we have the facts,
Right.
that's how it's going to be. Which, kudos to you for not just...
Well, yeah.
you know.
I mean, they know that Mr. Langston is not doing what he says he was doing because he said he was doing research at the university. Well, they go to the university to find him, and they're like, he's not here. We
Yeah,
don't...
he's been caught in lies.
Yeah. So they know he's not there for the reason he says he's there for.
Mm-hmm.
He's lying. Okay. Well, the scary part is, we're there, aren't we? Where
Yes.
she goes to her room to like lay down. She like puts the curtains to where the room is like very dark. She goes, finds the lamp, turns it on. She sees something out of the corner of her eye. Somebody's in the room with her and is like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's the killer.
And she's like, who is it?
Jack the Ripper's here.
And then he reveals that he's there. It's Mr. Langston, which, I mean, but is he Jack the Ripper? Because I don't know. I don't know that they came to that conclusion, which is confusing.
Yeah.
But he is a bad guy.
But again, how did
And
Langston get into the palace?
He is some kind of right, and he is a murderer. I don't know if he's
the
murderer that they've been trying to find this whole time, but he
again,
is.
it's kind of like Blake. Even if he's not, how are all these random people getting into the palace?
I don't know. That's a good question. And inside her room, like, was in the
Yeah.
armoire or whatever.
Like-
So, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you. He's like, you and Blake are like the two loose ends that I need to tie up, and I can't keep either one of you alive. And he tried to make it sound like he'd already killed Ike. Did I say Blake?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Langston. Yeah, he makes her believe that he killed.
he had killed Ike.
Yeah.
I think I was calling him Blake, but
Yeah.
and she's like, no, but I think she knew it wasn't true for some reason. But she fought back. He had like a knife or something, and he cut her arm, and they had a kerfuffle.
Yeah,
They
and of
scuffled.
course she pulls out her inner Lara Croft and beats the crud out of him.
I mean, she just gets away from
Yeah.
him. I don't think I just think she was able to elude him. I don't think she fought him and overcame him, but she was able to
get away,
to get out the door and like, hey, go get him. You know, there's
Yeah.
they call them footmen or something.
Yeah.
And just people that they had around the palace and things that
Yeah.
worked there. Like, get him, he's in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, they captured him.
Took him to the police.
But the way it ended, though, it wasn't like, hey, we caught the murderer.
Well, I mean, they couldn't because Jack the Ripper was never caught. But you never learned, did they let him go? I mean, presumably they did because...
But did you come to the conclusion that Dr. Langston was Jack the Ripper? I mean, we know he was some kind of murderer.
Yeah, I mean...
So he was the one that had murdered people.
Judging by what we read in the book, it sounded like he could have been.
Yeah, I mean,
since Jack the Ripper was never caught, if he was Jack the Ripper, for some reason they had to let him go. Maybe they couldn't nail him as the killer, so they had to let him go.
Know.
Yeah, I mean, the story does end
like inconclusive
because Jack the Ripper was never caught.
Yeah.
So in order to stay true to the historical version of the story, she couldn't really make him.
Yeah. But at least they captured him, and he, for a fact, is a criminal of some kind, and was willing to kill her. He was going to try to kill her.
Yeah.
So, and I think admitted to killing somebody else when he was having a dialogue with her in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we know he's killed a couple people or something at least. So yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. Maybe not the ending that I was expecting. I don't know, but
yeah, I was kind of expecting a tie-up, even if it would be a fictional tie-up.
Yeah.
Endings like this would normally infuriate readers. To me, especially if it's a series, this is one thing that baffles me. I have seen so many reviews where there's 3 books in a series, book 1 is over, and readers are furious 1 star.
Just read the first one. We'll
Yeah,
read the
well,
next two.
okay, how dare they do a cliffhanger? Well, Sherlock.
It's to be continued
Exactly.
because there's a second and a third book.
If you want to know,
there has to be cliffhangers.
You can't fit 3 stories in one book. So common sense tells you if there's a book 2, don't get mad and leave the author a 1-star review. You just go on to the next book. Duh.
Right. Because it continues on.
Yeah.
Because you haven't reached the end.
I'm telling you, authors appreciate every review that we get. Mm-hmm. Just because some people have the ability to leave a review does not mean they should.
Yeah. Or what they say is valid.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't tell you how many reviews I've read, not only of mine, but of others, where I'm like, you're an idiot. You just marked yourself as an idiot in this review you wrote.
You revealed your true
because
character.
I don't consider... Okay, when you've got a series of books, you do want a certain amount of closure in every book. I don't get mad if certain details are left, because guess what? Those little details that are not tied up, those are going to be the plot points in book 2. So again, don't get mad. Just get book 2.
Right. I'm thinking of like movie trilogies.
Yeah.
Where it's like on one hand they do kind of come to like at the end of the movie
it's enough to give you a
conclusion
ending
of sorts, but then you're also getting the lead into the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, that little bit of I wonder what's going to happen next.
Right.
That's the incentive to get you into. So I don't understand people that get furious and leave a 1-star review. And a lot of times they're like, "Oh, the authors are so greedy. They want to make us buy the next book." Well, if you're a reader, shouldn't you want to?
Well,
it's just it's so insane.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you, as an author? Like you're selling more books that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it just...
Well, and part of me wonders if these people that leave these ridiculous reviews about the cliffhangers, first of all, it's not really a cliffhanger if there's a second book. So part of me wonders if maybe the reader didn't enjoy the book enough to really want to go on to the next book. So they're mad because they don't know what's going to happen.
There was no payout.
Yeah. But
because
again,
they're not willing to read the second one.
Because they're not willing to. But
yeah,
it just
that sounds like a personal problem to me.
Yeah. Again, just because you can leave a review doesn't mean some people
doesn't mean
should.
you should.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, this was a great book. I really enjoyed it.
I did. I enjoyed it. I loved the mystery of it all. Kind of like that last book we read, where it's just the intrigue, the mystery, the James Bond type stuff, or whatever, but
this is an 11-book series, but the interesting thing about the series is each book in the series is written by a different author.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but even though this is a series, I'm not sure what the tie is that sort of connects all the series. It's called the True Colors series, and this is book 7 in the series.
Okay.
And each book in the series is a totally different story. So book 8 has nothing to do. It's not a continuation of this book.
Okay.
As far as I know, there's no carryovers. I actually bought book 1 in the series. Got it in the mail yesterday. Don't know when I'll get. So anyway, if you do want to read this series, just understand each book is written by totally different authors. Each story is based on a crime that really happened.
Okay.
It's a fictional
So
version.
there's the tie.
There's a tie.
Because I'm like, well, I didn't realize there could be a book series from different authors.
Yeah.
A book series, I think the same author writing every book.
Yeah, that does happen. Usually series are written by the same author.
Yeah.
But I have seen series where different authors write a book in a big series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've come across that, but that's interesting.
Yeah. So I highly recommend this book. If you had to give it 1 to 5 stars, what would you give it?
I'm going to give it 5 stars.
Me too. Totally a 5-star. Like I said earlier, to me, this is not a book that really lends itself to a lot of deep discussions.
Yeah.
But it's a good entertainment read.
I enjoyed the 2 main characters. I enjoyed Annie and Ike, and
Honestly,
also
I
Miss
think
Hattie.
I
That
think-
little side character, that was a good little side character. I enjoyed Miss Hattie and the dog, Alfie.
I think it would be fine if the author kind of would do a second book so you could
Yeah.
see Hattie get married to Seth and
Oh, yeah.
what happens with
Ike and
with
Annie.
Ike and Annie. Like there's another story there.
Oh, definitely.
So-
Yeah, totally think
Yeah.
so. But that was fun. Again, like, especially late 1800s London, that's just like I don't know.
It
That's just like a
is.
fun, interesting timeline and place.
Yeah. Well,
And
and you
location-wise.
almost get Gothic vibes from this book.
Hmm.
A little bit. Yeah, it's because it's a little bit dark.
Yeah.
And,
You know what I keep thinking of? You ever watch the movie League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
no.
This is what this
I haven't.
book like puts me there.
Ah,
Has Sean Connery
I
in
need
it.
to watch it.
It's really good.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a has Sean Connery in it, but it has like Dracula,
Ooh.
Nemo, the
Not the fish.
submarine, the nautical, the Captain Nemo, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Invisible Man. Oh no, it's not Dracula. It's Dracula's wife. And then anyway, Dorian Gray.
Is this
but
like a
these
90s
characters? No. Well, when was it made? Maybe 2000s, I would say.
Oh, okay.
But it's set back in like this time frame, like in I think like London area.
So
I
it's a period
think.
piece.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh,
I like it.
I may have to check that out. I don't think.
Oh, and it also has Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde and Dr. Jekyll.
Oh. Do you know who any of the play? Do you know who anyone that played in it other than Connery?
Yeah, that Shane West is in it. He's like the American in it, but yeah, they're over in like England though. I think.
Okay.
I'm
It is. It's such a fascinating time period.
trying to think who else plays in it. I can't think of the other actors or actresses' names.
Huh.
It was
Oh,
good.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Anybody wants to check it out, you can check it out. All right. Well, we've been on here a while, so we probably ought to wrap this up. But thank you for coming on. This has been a lot of fun.
Yes.
Melissa, you missed out. My
That's right.
cousin,
She was supposed to be here with us today.
my cousin was supposed to be with us today to talk about this.
Talk about
and
it with us.
She got a better. She got
She
a
bailed
better
on us.
offer.
She
got.
bailed on us.
I'm just saying, who is better than spending the day with you and me?
That's right. I can't
So.
imagine
Nanny, we got
a
to have
better
fun.
offer.
So, all right. Well, we are going to let all of you go. Come back next time. I don't know what book we're going to do next time, but we're going to do one. So, we will talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Bookish Introverts podcast, where together we explore the worlds within the pages. Until next time, stay bookish.